my man is clean.
But no, I knew Bryan was gonna come dressed so nice, and I'm like literally in a Barbie t-shirt from Target. I was like, this is not acceptable.
I did Uber, I did Urban Outfitters, and then in my Uber, I'm like, I don't know if I really like this shirt.
No, you look good.
I like that shirt. Yeah.
Urban has got something now.
And your artwork, man.
I'm an addict for math, and this is like connected to some like ancient geometry stuff.
Very
and I promise you, I'll nerd out if you ask me too many questions.
That's so funny.
Let it rip, man.
I told Bryan though, I was like, he's got to look nice because this personal brand that he's been building is so like, it's just so GQ, like everything that you're doing. And I don't even know if Roger knows this, but like my original podcast I had like maybe a year ago, I took you to coffee, went to go get coffee, and I was like, I really want you to come on my podcast. And like it didn't end up happening, but you've always been someone who like believed in me and supported me. And I think right after I left coffee with you, I went and recorded like a solo episode.
Motivated.
Oh my God. He pushed me to go do it. And then I did the solo episode and it was so scary.
That's awesome. I mean,
that's how you grow, you know, is kind of stepping out of that comfort zone and just doing the hard things. And, you know, I feel like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to, you know, be perfect or the ideal version of ourselves, but you only get there through reps.
Yeah.
So, you know, go shoot the solo podcast. So what, you know, if it sucks, like, keep it moving. Go do another one. Like, that's the same with content, like we were just talking about earlier. It's like, you know, it's like, oh, your content's good. Well, I don't think it's good compared to a lot of people that I look to.
Of course.
But, you know, it's a lot better than when I started. And the only way I got better is just doing reps after reps after reps. And, like, I think also a lot of times we think that people are paying attention to us more than they really are.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of try to remind myself. Like, I value myself, but I'm not as important as I think I am. And, like, you know, especially in this fast-paced world where it's just like so much attention and people have attention spans of like 4 to 5 seconds. It's like they notice you for a second and then they forget about you. And so it's like, just go out there, do your thing, put in the reps, get better, do it for yourself, and you know, start to progress over time.
You could tell it's genuine. I feel like I'm motivated. Like,
yeah, I know. That's what I was just talking to him before we hit record, because I was like, he's not just like putting these videos out and being like motivating, like he's practicing what he's preaching. And it's so cool to see just kind of how your career has transitioned, because when I first met with you, you were still kind of going really hard in the real estate game, and now you've put a little bit more focus on this like personal coaching, fitness coaching. And so I've got to kick it off with the intro. We've got to welcome Bryan Pollard to In the Lobby podcast.
So much.
You're a data-driven fitness coach, which I was giving him a hard time. I
want to know what this means.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, thank you guys both for having me. I'm excited to be here. You know, to kind of touch on the coaching business part, it's a health data-driven fitness coaching program. And, you know, my word for this year and when I was really starting this business is optimization. And really just becoming a better person holistically and becoming the most optimized versions of ourselves. And this is really where the essence of it all started. And, you know, I was telling her, you know, the ideal client avatar for me is like business owners. And when you're running a business, it's all data driven, right? And I feel like for a lot of the fitness industry with coaches, and this is no jab at them, I mean, I'm supporting anyone who's out there to help other people get better.
For sure.
But I feel like it's a guessing game. And I want to kind of take the guesswork out of the picture. And so the way we do things is, you know, first we have blood work, and then we use wearable technology like Whoops and Oura rings and things of that nature to continuously optimize, because that allows us to see like where you are specifically. Because if you think about it, like let's say you have two people, the same gender, the same age, the same height, the same weight with the same goals, 9 times out of 10,
same thing's not going to work for all three.
It's not going to work, right? But a coach is going to give you the same workout and nutrition plan, and then you're going to go through it for a couple weeks, and then they're going to say, okay, well, I see you're not losing as much weight as you thought you could, so let's try to guess and make some changes on this side. But if I come to you and like I'm looking at your blood work, 48 different biomarkers down to the DNA, I'm looking at your you know, technology as far as like your sleep, your strain, your recovery, your heart rate, all these different metrics, then I can really dive in and see what the heck is going on and make the proper adjustments, you know, based off of that. And that's kind of where it all came from. And it's it's a work in progress with any business. It's figuring out what works and what doesn't. But at least with the way that I'm doing it, I'm able to get an individualized picture on each client to make the best decisions moving forward.
I mean, data is important, and for you to go against the grain or status quo of what people are doing in the fitness industry, I'm sure that that's hard in its own respect, right?
Yeah.
But you could tell, again, you hear that passion that you have, you hear the investment that you have into not only just what you're doing, but these are people's lives. Like, you're messing with their blood work, you're messing with their sleep. You are really tracking and taking a look at these things to make, like, appropriate decisions for them to adjust their life to be a better person, right? 100%. So you hear that, and that's cool, honestly.
And it all started with like my personal transformation, and it's like I've been on a 6-year journey of this, and taking it back to my LA days, like I'm from Virginia, born and raised, but
I hear that sigh. Once you offer that sigh, the 6-year journey, you're like, it's hard, man.
It's hard. It's super hard, man. It's super hard. But I was very lost in LA, just to be transparent with you guys. And
I hear you.
It's like deep in a dark hole, and I'm like, how can I get out? And the only thing that I knew was like fitness. And like I said, it's been an up and down journey for the last 6 years, but we're trending upwards for sure. And like I said, bringing it back is like, I just want to become optimized. Like a lot of people, it's like, oh, let's lose 30 pounds in 30 days, or let's do this and that. And for me, it's like, I just want to be a better person overall.
Yeah.
And that's mentally, physically, emotionally, like in business, in our relationships, and like really just optimize ourselves. And I always tell my friends, like, we got this one life, like let's maximize it to the absolute maximum. It's like, and the only way that we can actually maximize our life is by being healthy, right? And taking our fitness serious and like caring about ourselves. And that's, I feel like, fitness is one of the best forms of like self-respect when you really take care of your bodies. And also like I see these people, like that have these families and like, I would do anything for my kids. I would do anything for my family. Yeah, but will you go to the gym? Will you get healthy? And this is not taking a jab. This is not negative. This is just reality.
Yeah.
Like, let's really like take a look. Like, what would you really do for your family? And, I'm fortunate enough to have found this purpose and passion in the fitness industry. And I'm excited for the future. And this is like something I'll do for the next 60 years of my life. And, we're slowly starting, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
And I think me being on my journey, you say something that I would hope it sounds like either you're already saying it, or if there's a way you can try to like package it in your own way, because you say it so like in such a healthy way. It's like comparison is the thief of joy.
100%.
And you're really like being intentional in each conversation and each effort and each thing you're doing, and it's remarkable. It's admirable, honestly.
Thank you.
So it is very, honestly, like, it's a pleasure to meet you, and also to see another gentleman of color on the journey and doing your thing and multiple different arenas and avenues of work. Like, absolutely. It's truly an exciting time to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll speak on that comparison thing. I think absolutely it's the thief of joy, and it's just so prevalent in our day and age.
Everything, man.
It's everything. Always comparing. I mean, I catch myself daily comparing it. But at the end of the day, like, everybody's on their own journey, and you can almost take pride in that.
Yeah.
And that takes some of the pressure off. And on this comparison thing, I got a couple thoughts is, we're always, not necessarily in comparison, but just on the growth in life, is that we're always looking, once we get here, then we'll be happy.
Sure.
Right? And that can be with comparison. Like, if I was just like this guy, if I just had his talents, if I just had his hair, right? If I just had his height, or for women especially, if I just looked like her, this, that, and the other, we're always like, if I was here, then I will be happy. Right?
Yeah.
And that's just such a toxic thing to, bring on yourself. There's so much pressure in that. And if we can alleviate that by, for example, a lot of people, they don't want $1 million.
No.
They want the feeling that they think $1 million is going to bring them.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't care about being 6'4" or having blonde hair, blue eyes. Right. They just think that feeling is going to make them happier, right? So if we can walk in that space and that feeling of what we think that thing is going to bring us, it takes the pressure off. And so that's what I've really been learning, like, over the last 6 months. Like, I wake up every day, I feel like I'm the most successful, bad to the bone fitness coach, changing people's lives, optimizing people's lives, running a business that's service first, that's really getting results, that's caring about the people. I'm an amazing husband. I'm an amazing father. I have great friends. I'm a great friend. And I live in that moment despite it all having played out yet.
Yeah.
And that takes the pressure off. And that's all I can do, because I feel it, I feel it to the core. Like I'm there, right? And it's just not up to me to say how or when that happens, but it's up to me to have that feeling before it happens.
Well, I'll tell you for the audience, it's infectious. Like
I'm like, do
I hear you
TED Talk? Can I attend it, please? But also, you just made me think of a conversation I had with my mom today, and I'm sure this probably gets brought up with like your female clients. Do you know what Ozempic is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like I work out all the time, like I'm eating healthy, and I was like looking at like some of the celebrities who have like lost a lot of weight recently.
Taking Ozempic.
Yes, and then you start getting in your own head of like comparison, right? Like I'm like, maybe I should take that. Like I want to look like them, and it's such a thief of joy. So you just reiterating that to me, I'm like, that just meant so much to me, just hearing that come out of your mouth, you know? So
yeah.
And we were talking about too, like how different it looks being a fitness coach with like female clients versus male clients. And just like their bodies are so different, hormones are so different. And you were saying that maybe sometimes your female clients are a little bit easier to train than your male clients.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a very different spectrum. And I don't know the word to use, but selfishly, I would prefer to work with men simply because I don't feel authoritative enough to speak on a woman's behalf because I'm not in her body.
I hear you, man.
So I don't go through those things. That doesn't mean I can't learn, do the research, talk to women, you know, become educated in the space, especially around hormones and cycles and so forth. But yeah, well, like we were saying earlier, you know, it is a different dynamic with men and women, and I have probably split half female, half male clients at this point. And, you know, my female clients, Britley is one of them, and she's just absolutely amazing. She shows up to work. She asks the right questions. She said, what can I do? I say, this is what we got to do. Like, this is a 9-month, 12-month journey for you.
For sure.
Setting the expectations. She's like, okay, you know, like, I'll just follow the script. And that's what we call it. You just follow the script or follow the recipe, right? And, you know, it's no bash on men, just men, you know, just, you know, you're working with some alpha guys. It's like, is this really the best course of action?
For sure.
And I think, you know, not in a negative space, but a little bit of ego gets involved.
You got to play it.
You know, and I get it. I get it. And, you know, like, I work with some dogs, and they want to be dogs. And it's just a balancing act, right? And, you know, as I'm building this business, I'm really like seeing who I like to work with most and who I don't like to work with most, so I can really niche down and be like, this is a specific person I want to work with every day, and just growing that. And I think that's really where growth comes in business. Is like, riches are in the niches, is what they say. And you know, I'm playing it out, but yeah, there is a little bit of a difference. But again, I just like to help, you know, as many people as I can.
And I guess just for me, because like you guys have a relationship that it seems very, very healthy and motivating, and I'm outside looking in, and I'm just like, this dude's got me pumped up.
I know, right? So motivating.
Yes, it is a very positive experience. But where are you from? Like, where's home? Because you said Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm an East Coast guy myself.
Okay.
And then, like, what got you into fitness?
Yeah.
Because, like, I hear where you are present day, the 6-year journey to get there. That's not easy, right? Yeah. And it's a work in progress every day. You're waking up with that mind state that the riches are in the niches. That's dope. I like that. Yeah. I don't know if I've heard it that way, but I like that, and I'm going to steal that.
For sure.
But I do need to understand, like, for you to be so connected on this, like, this level of journey for other people too, right? Like, what got you so connected and focusing on fitness?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's just been the evolution of like life. And, you know, I wish I can't pinpoint a couple, you know, life-changing moments that really pushed it down. But I think it's, you know, from the time I grew up, I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia, a little small country town. And I think that, you know, a lot of my friends and family are still there, and I love them to death. But I was always the type, like, I got to get out. Yeah. There's just so much more in life. And that's just what I want to really preach to people. It's just so much out there. We have this one little life, and like, we all think like we're going to live till we're 80, 90, 100 years old. And that's just like very selfish to think that we're afforded that much time. And it's, you know, I'm saying this in a positive manner. It's like, let's really take advantage of the time that we do have and make the biggest change that we can have. And I think that starts with ourselves. Like, how can you pour into other people if you don't fill your cup up first? Yeah. Right. And so I played sports my whole life growing up. I unfortunately got hurt playing football my junior year of high school, so that ended any collegiate
activity. Sure, yeah.
And so I was in the fitness. You know, the knee was bothering me, so I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought you played some college sports. You got quite the build on you.
Yeah, I wish, but I'm also grateful for the path that I did take.
For sure.
And so, you know, college, I worked out a little bit here and there. And then my senior year, I was just really focused on school. I wasn't in the gym. I was, you know, not confident in myself and my body. I wasn't as healthy as I know I could be. I moved to LA for a girl at the time, and I get caught up in the party scene. I'm just partying every weekend, going through the motions. Like I said, I was just in this deep, dark hole. And it got to a point where I have a picture, and I think it's probably on my Instagram somewhere. It's like the side by side, and I took the picture, and it was on Snapchat back when people use Snapchat. So I still do. I don't really use it anymore. But the title was Day One. Yeah. And I was like, I woke up, I was just sick of being
in that space,
mediocre. Yeah, you know, really, just sick of like not taking advantage of this beautiful like life that God has given me, right? And so I was like, this is day one. And from that day, like I said, it's been a roller coaster. Of course, I think success is not linear. It's definitely it definitely has some highs and lows. But from that day forward, I just made up in my mind, like from this day forward, like I'm gonna prioritize, you know, my health and my fitness so that I can bring into this world the most that I physically and emotionally can. And so that's kind of really where it all started for me.
And then I don't even mean to ask too much, because I feel like I'm just so excited to, one, thank you for the introduction and you being here on the episode. But now I'm like, do you explain that story every time you get a new client, or do they even care to ask, or do they just, they get that experience, right? Like,
not every time. I've been reluctant to be as like, what's the word I'm looking for? Vocal or open, or
because it can be intimidating.
It is intimidating, and it's like it's like a little bit embarrassing, I would say, to say that I was never like always at the top of my game. Yeah. But I think a lot of people can relate to it, and that's really what inspires me today. Is just help the Bryan from a year ago, 6 months ago, from 6 years ago, right? And I feel like, you know, like, in order to be a leader, you just have to be one step ahead of the person you're leading. Yeah. And so all I'm doing is taking the skills and the mindset and the things that I've learned over this last 6 years of what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, and I'm just handing it on a plate to my clients. And awesome. I'm like, this is what I know. This is what's worked for me. And
got me this far.
It's got me this far, and I'm still working. I'm still in progress. But as I grow, you're going to grow with me, right? Yeah. And we're going to do this thing together. And I think it just lot of it comes to like our mentality, and that's really what I've been focusing on most. Like recently, like I've been at the top of my fitness game, but like still had a weak mind. And so like I'm just really trying to strengthen the mind so much that you almost become unbreakable. And you know that's. You know, I'm sure you're going to ask about this later, but that's kind of where the 12 marathons in 12 months, you know, came from. It's like, what goal can I set for myself that is so big and so scary that I have to practice day in, week in, week out, month in, month out for 12 months, right? Yeah. If I can do this for 12 months and then succeed at the end of the year, it's impossible for me to not have the mental fortitude, but also the self-confidence in myself that I can do anything I put my mind to. Right? Because self-confidence doesn't come from standing in the mirror and saying affirmations to yourself or writing in your journal your gratitude. All that stuff's important.
From betting on yourself.
Yeah, but it's making promises and then keeping them to ourselves. Mm-hmm. How many times do we say that we're going to do something and then don't do it? Yeah. Like even little things like, I'm going to go to the gym today, and then you don't go. And then that's subconsciously programming you to say, you know what, it's okay to lie to yourself. I'm going to read this book. We get halfway through and quit, you know? And so to make a goal, like for me, like, that it was that intensive for that amount of time, I think, you know, when I get to the end of the year, like I'll be really like self-confident and proud of myself that like I really can do anything, and that's just going to reflect again in my business and my relationships and how I can serve my clients and friends.
That's awesome.
I always talk about that because, as you were saying, life goes by so fast, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like if you're showing up every day, being consistent, it's like all of a sudden you'll wake up and you'll have achieved your goals because you were so consistent, you know, along the way. So it's so, and I think honestly, Bryan, why I resonated with you so much when I first met you was you were telling me about your experiences in LA and that you hadn't always been at the top and you'd worked hard to become this version of yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think so many people can relate to that because there's been so many times I'm in these dark depths of my own life. Mm-hmm. And I think for me personally, the one thing that's always pulled me out is like fitness, because anytime I get in the gym, I watch my mental health shift so much. And I know you're in the gym every day.
Every day. I can't go without it.
Yeah. And I honestly have a hard time understanding how people function without working out at all, you know, because I feel like it affects your mental health so much. So, yeah, and I feel like just everything you're doing for your clients, you're really advocating for both male and females' mental health and their like fitness journey.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. And I think like people don't realize like just you getting up and again like making that commitment to yourself. I'm gonna go to the gym and just going there. Yeah. You may not have to have like the most elitist workout, dude, but just getting there, that means so much to your day, so much to your circadian rhythm.
It's incredible. And not to cut you off.
No, yeah.
It's like that's what I preach. It's like we just have to start. Yeah. Really, you just have to start. And this, like for me, like I'm so grateful for my friends and my mentors. It's like even for the business, it was paralysis analysis. Like just take the first step with content. Just post the first post, right? Yeah. Like Mr. Beast, he's the best content creator ever.
It's insane.
And he's like, you can't even judge your content until you have 1,000 posts, right? You might not feel like going to the gym, but get up and just drive to the gym. Walk in there, take a lap, stretch, and then come home. But just getting that in that motion. But like you said, fitness definitely helps you mentally. I mean, it releases endorphins, and there's so many benefits to fitness. And you were saying something earlier I wanted to allude to, but you know, just creating that discipline. Like there's so much freedom in discipline, right? People think that discipline restricts you.
Absolutely
discipline
not.
Creates that freedom because you're no longer, you know, for lack of better words, a slave to your desires and your wants, right? You're no longer just a victim of every little thing, right? You just don't give in to everything, right? If you want more time, you have to have more time discipline, more time management. If you want more better results in the gym, you have to have more, you know, discipline with that. If you want more financial success, you have to have more discipline with your finances. They just go hand in hand, freedom and discipline. And one more thing I'll add is, you know, in the world of fitness and just in life, like I always encourage people to do hard stuff, right? And I was listening to an Andrew Huberman podcast. It was with David Goggins, and I'm not a neuroscientist, but he was explaining that there's these studies that have been done where there's a part in your brain that is responsible for willpower.
Sure.
And the way that it grows is neuroplastic, or however the
neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity. Yeah. So it can grow and it can shrink. And the way to grow it is to wake up and do hard stuff. Now, this is like, that can look like anything to anybody. That can be just going to the gym and doing a 10-minute workout, or it can be running a marathon every month, right? But doing those hard things over and over and over again, he says that increases your willpower, or better yet, your will to live.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think a lot of times, like, we almost are so comfortable sitting in complacency, and it's like doing anything that's hard and is going to move you towards your goals is going to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's so easy just to like sit at home on your sofa with a throw blanket and be comfy cozy. It's really uncomfortable to get up at 5 a.m. when it's cold outside and go to the gym. And so I was telling Roger this the other day, because we've been really busy working on the podcast, and I'll get really stressed, and I'll tell him this is good though, because we're not sitting in our comfort zones any longer. When you're stressed and uncomfortable, it's usually because you're pushing yourself towards something. And I mean, I see your posts, like you're up at the crack of dawn. So I can only think that you have like a set of routines, probably like a morning routine. I don't know if you have an evening routine, but I want to know what someone like you, what your day looks like when you first get out of bed.
Yeah, of course. It's pretty systematic for me. At this point in my life, it's almost the same day every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wake up, you know, first thing I do is pray. That's super important to me. And then I practice some breath work, 60 seconds, which really just gets the, you know, your nervous system regulated, right? And then we start the day, you know, some meditation with the breath work, along with the breath work, and really just framing the mind. Because
how long do you meditate?
Again, you know, 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
It kind of just depends.
Yeah.
So I actually have a breathwork coach, Britley, one of my clients, and so she sends me a breathwork / meditation, self-guided.
That's awesome.
And so, you know, just getting my head in that space, because a lot of the actions that we do, like, are funded by our subconscious, right? And what I used to do, and what really was a disadvantage for myself, is I'd wake up and first thing I would do is get on my phone. Start scrolling. That's where that comparison comes in.
Yeah.
And it's just the easiest way to like not have a good day, because you're already first thing in the morning.
Comparisons.
You're rushing, right? And you're just getting that little dopamine hit like every 2 seconds, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then your whole day goes through that, and you feel like you're behind, you feel like you're rushed, you feel like you're not doing enough. And all these negative connotations come with that. And so what I've done is like no phone for the first hour when I wake up.
Love it.
You know, I like I said, I wake up, I pray, I do my breath work, I do my meditation, I take a cold shower, you know, I stretch, get my body moving, and then I start my day.
I think the hardest thing too is when you do that, people can take you as rude, and you're like, wait, I'm not being rude. Like, I'm like, I just can't be on this phone that first hour.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's boundaries though too, because
yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
tell the people in your life like, hey, I never answer my phone until after 10 a.m. I think they respect it.
100%.
Yeah.
People feel like with these phones is that they have automatic access to you.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
You know? And I tell my clients, like, you got 24/7 access to me, right?
Yeah.
But there's boundaries to it, you know? And I'll get to the message when I get to it. There's nothing that pressing in my life or other people's lives that it can't wait an hour, right? And if it can't, call me, right? We can address that, but
and it's not like I'm gonna ignore anybody. Like we're all gonna do our best.
Some
to reach
people are
out.
so annoying. They'll like hit the question mark. They'll hit the exclamation. I'm like, can you give me like 5 minutes?
Yeah. And it's you know, it's sad, but it's, you know, again, it comes back to the phones. It's just people think that they can have continuous access to you, and that really like takes away from how you're able to show up for other people. You know, if you're just giving everybody your unlimited attention and access to you, it just really clouds like how you're able to carry yourself and again, you know, pour into other people. And then for the night routine, again, no phone an hour before bed.
Awesome.
And one thing I ask myself every night is what went well today. I think what I used to do is like, what could I have done better today?
Yep.
But I no longer focus on the negatives. It's just the positives. What went well today? I write out a list. I think about it. And then, you know, I think for me, like when I'm sleeping, I'm subconsciously like, the last thing I think about is all the positive that happened throughout the day. And so like I'm sleeping on it, I'm subconsciously like rewiring my brain to like think positive. And then I wake up in the morning positive because I'm not thinking about, oh, I didn't do this, and this today. I'm thinking, oh, I'm so grateful for another day. Let's have another day like we did yesterday. And that just kind of sets the tone for the day when we're already waking up in that positive framework.
That's awesome. I know I'm definitely guilty of that negative thought at the end of the day. And it's motivation. Like for me, I'm a very competitive person. So I know that if I can ask myself that question, like, hey, what did I not do well today? Or like, what could I improve on? It's always been a driving force for me. And that is, you bring up such a good point. That it's the end of my day, and I really should adjust that to be positive. For
sure.
Because
I think it's important to have those conversations.
Yeah, oh, I do.
What didn't go right?
But
like you have to take a temperature gauge on life. We have to be realistic. Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, let's put the phones away. Let's, you know, imagine like scrolling for the last hour in bed, and then the last thing you see is like a girl or a guy you wish you were like, and then you go to sleep. Subconsciously, you're not conscious about it. Subconscious is there. Yeah. It's there. And then you wake up and do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. How can you not just be a nervous system wreck of like in this comparison trap, really?
Well, it's like they say that your mind doesn't know what's real or not sometimes. So then it's like looking at social media or like watching a lot of TV. It's like taking away from like the reality of your internal world kind of. Yeah. And then the other thing I think about too is these routines are like so important. Like I love what you're saying. Like do you journal too? Or like, okay, what I feel like is hard is if you're dating, trying to bring someone in and then still keeping those routines, right, as you're trying to date someone else. Like, no, sorry, honey, like, you know, I don't answer my phone past this time, or I've got to go work out in the morning. I'm sorry, I'm not going to lay in bed and snuggle you. I find that discipline becomes a little bit harder when you add someone else in your life. So, are you single? Are you dating?
Single, yeah.
Okay.
I'm beginning to open the door to dating. I haven't for a while, just because it was really like selfishly.
Self-love.
Yeah, I just had to.
Awesome.
You know, how can I ask for a woman to bring me all these attributes when I can't even show up for myself?
Sure.
And I feel like that's just not a recipe for a healthy relationship. And so I had a lot of things that I needed to work on, and I'm still working on, of course, but I kind of felt with dating, like, for me, it's like, I think about it, I expect a lot, and I feel like I'm not to the level that I need to be to ask for that. But I think that there's a balance to that, because we're going to grow, at least most of us, I hope,
sure,
for the rest of our lives, right? So we're not ever going to be at that top level, and if we wait till we're at that top level, again, the goalpost moves and moves and moves, and we'll never be ready for a relationship. So now
you're going to be alone by yourself for a long time.
100%.
Good point.
100%. And so I've kind of come to the grips of like, okay, I'm in a good space. Like, the business is making money.
Yep.
I'm healthy mentally, emotionally. I'm healed from a lot of things. And so now I'm starting to open the door. But it definitely brings a level of distraction, for lack of better words, when you do bring that partner into the field. But that's why I think it's super important to pick the right partner. And I think people get lonely and impatient, so they just bring in somebody to fill that void because they're not in the best space.
Yeah.
And that's where, we see all these divorce rates. Like, what is it? 50% of people that get married get divorced.
Yeah. It may even be higher, honestly.
And it's like, we're just trying to have somebody, at least this is the way I look at it, to fill the void that we have to fix on our own.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to fall in love, right? Mm-hmm. Like, falling in love takes time.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to fall in love fast. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference in that, right? Like, you could have somebody fill that seat fast, but to fall in love, that's a process. Yeah. And it does take that discipline that you bring up, but discipline creates distance. And the wrong person can take that as counter-cyclical, and it goes against the grain, versus the right person is like, that's more attractive to me because I know that you're focused and you're healthy and you're grounded, and you're going to be able to bring more value to me when we are together. So I can only imagine like what that looks like.
Yeah.
But I think you just keep, both of you, honestly, this is all just a very healthy conversation, and you're offering some good jewels around this.
Yeah, because I can't even imagine you dating someone who like wasn't living like a healthy lifestyle and like working out, because it's like, this sounds bad, but it's like, what's the value add if you're adding, it's like,
it's almost like they're getting free coaching.
Yeah.
Which is unfair to you.
Yeah, right.
I think I've dated a few guys where they were pretty fit, and I was like, this is good because I'll learn how to work out now.
Yeah. I don't mind offering my expertise, but yeah, like you said, like, it's important to find a partner with shared values.
Yeah.
And if I feel like I'm just dragging you along, that's not helping anybody.
Yeah.
Right. And so, definitely, into fitness and into health, and that way we can complement each other. And I don't feel like I said, I'm dragging you along. So that's super important.
Awesome.
Sure. Yeah. I honestly, like, I'm just so in awe of you, kind of, hearing you say that, as a man, that you like have taken the time to like work on yourself. Like, I have so much respect for it. Because I've told you this before, I really look at you as like a high value man, someone who's like really pouring into himself, physically, mentally, financially, working on a business. So I'm like, if you do start dating and you're looking for that person, what kind of characteristics do you look for in a woman, or, what's inspiring to you in someone that you're like looking at dating?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think first and foremost, it's just a godly woman, like a God-fearing woman. That's super important to me. I think, as I'm growing in my relationship with God, which is, something I take in as important, I want my wife to be too. And that's just going to trickle the values of how she treats me, how she treats our family, how she treats our kids, how she treats herself. So that's number one. Number two is family. Family is important to me. And so, I definitely love a woman that prioritizes family.
Do you have relatives?
I do have relatives.
Okay.
I don't have any siblings, but I have relatives.
Okay. Or, I guess, sorry, siblings.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No siblings.
Are you an only child?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm adopted by my grandparents.
Okay, cool.
He's like, I have relatives, you idiot.
I do have relatives, but no siblings.
That's on me. I'm sorry.
No worries. It's still the family dynamic, especially, I think as the world is moving, there's less importance on family and more importance on like self, and everybody wants to be a boss and this, that, and the other. And the way that I view things is I want my wife and the mother of my children to put family over everything, except God, of course. Shared values, we talked about that. Support is super important. I mean, entrepreneurship is hard. And as you said, discipline causes distance. You know, if she is always looking at me like, oh, you're not devoted to me enough because I'm growing my business, like that just creates a stress that I just don't have the room for. And so it's like, I'm doing this for us, right? I'm doing this for us. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of our family. I'm going to take care of everything. But this is where I'm at in my life right now. And it's not always going to be like this, but I'm in the growth entrepreneurial phase of my life. And if I don't feel that support, you know, it's like, you know, you're just slowing me down for lack of better words. Also, I think loyalty is very important. I think it's extremely important how your partner speaks about you in a room that you're not in. Absolutely. Especially to their friends.
Absolutely.
And I think people overlook that a little bit because, you know, girls and guys, you know, we have a problem in our relationship. We love to go back and tell our friends.
Yeah, I never do it. I never do it.
And it's like, people don't realize that the damage that's causing, because now not only are your friends looking at your partner like they're not worth a darn, you know, it's like also creating a distrust. It's like, this is our business, you know, this is our relationship. Let's hash things out. Like, I'll never go disrespect my partner to my friends. Yeah. And I think that's just a part of a loyalty piece, is how they're showing up in a room for you. You know, discipline and the fitness, you know, things of that nature. But, you know, those are the main characteristics for me.
And you bring up a good point there too, about like letting others into your relationship. No matter what the relationship is, it's like, you're opening the door of their traumas and their insecurities and their issues to then be welcomed into yours, which is tough. Like, that can affect your business. That can affect your dating relationship. You have to make sure, just how you're picky about your mentors that are around you. You got to be picky about those friends that are involved in your relationship. 100%. You got to be picky about what you expose them to, because not everybody's going to forgive as fast as those two partners will.
And they're not
and
always,
then they don't forget.
Yeah, they don't forget, and they're not seeing the good stuff. You rarely go back and rave on them.
Exactly.
Like, you know, you're only talking about the bad stuff. And again, I think there's important pieces of friendships. Like, I have my boys, and when I'm going through it, like, you know, I'll talk to my boys. I think that's super important. But I'm not always bringing my partner's business into other people's rooms. I just don't think that's important.
There's a line.
There's a line. Yeah. And you know, one more thing that I'll add, which is a little bit polarizing, I think, in today's world, is like, as an alpha male, like I want my partner to be willing to be led. Yeah. You know, I want to be the leader in my
talk about this
in my relationship. And I think a lot of times, like, Western culture has really driven women to hate men.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's bad, but there's definitely a lot of beta males out there that don't deserve to be a leader. I recognize that, and I empathize for that. But if a man is showing up and respects himself and respects you and shows up every day as an alpha man and gets the job done and can lead and support you and the family, I think that's super important. And, you know, that's what I look for in a partner. I don't need, you know, an argumentative partner. I need a collaborative partner. Yeah. You know? So.
Right.
And go ahead.
Well, I was at a wedding last night, and they're a beautiful couple. And in his vows, he said to his future wife, he said, "I promise to provide and protect you." And I thought that was so beautiful, because, I mean, to me, that's what an alpha male does, right? He will provide and protect you, and that's when a woman will feel safe to submit to you. Like, not submit, just, you know, do whatever, but like submit and let you lead and be like the CEO of the family, and she's more like the COO is how I look at it, more of the operations, you know, with the kids, running the home. But to me, the male in the relationship is the leader. Yeah. And we talk about that all the time, because I feel like I have a hard time finding a male that I want to lead me, because as a woman, you want someone better, faster, stronger, better. And I'm not saying that I'm so great, but it's going to take someone special. For sure. Because, I mean, I don't want to have children with someone if they can't provide for a family. 100%. And that's why I've never had children, because for me, I don't want to outside of marriage.
For sure.
And I would never have children unless I knew that my partner could provide for our family. Yeah. And it's not, like, you know, times get hard. Someone could lose their job, or something could happen. Your finances aren't always going to be perfect, but it's someone that has like the drive and motivation, and we know together no matter what,
you're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna figure this shit out together.
Yeah, that's healthy.
So, but I also feel like I also have a problem with being really independent. He sees this all the time, even in our business relationship.
For sure.
So there is kind of like this female movement. I feel like where we're...
And I don't think we're not saying anything negative about it. It's just like you're bringing up good points.
I'm just like, I wonder for you, like both of you guys in your dating experiences, is it hard to find a woman that wants to be led? Like, are they... Because I know even myself, I can be like feisty and push back.
I think you both bring it up in the right way, where it's like you ask the question correctly and you said it correctly. Where I think the Western culture is set up right now to hate men. And that's okay. Like,
yeah, no, I feel that. When you said that, I feel that. I feel like even I see that message happening in my own life. Like, just go get your own money, go be alone, go do self-love, sit at home with your cat and wear a face mask, and it'll all work out fine. And I'm like, great, I'm gonna be 50 crying myself to sleep every night because I didn't build a family and a home. And
I think
the narrative's not good.
It's not. And with the narrative not being good, I think people are very quick to demonize people for mistakes rather than the idea that people are growing. People are learning.
100%.
And it's a process. It's a ride. It's a journey.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be perfect every day.
Correct.
And there's another thing too. Again, I feel like you kind of say it without saying it. It's like, you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So until you make that mistake, yes, there may be casualties to that war at life. And some people may feel it a little bit differently than others, but that doesn't make you the devil. You know, it makes you someone who was wrong.
100%.
And you owe an apology, or you got to fix it or grow or become better and go on that journey. Yeah. But I do think like Western culture is setting it up where men right now are just living in this space of like, I fucking hate you.
Well, and there's so many caveats to this, right?
Yeah.
And
so it is hard. I think the answer to your question, it is hard.
It's hard. And like I said, it's a lot of caveats. Like, I'm all about empowering women.
Right.
Yeah.
I love women. Like,
absolutely.
I can't live without them.
Yeah.
But like, at the same time, you know, in this Western culture, they have, I'll say the word, tricked women into thinking they don't need men.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's true. And I'm just being completely honest. That's what you guys wanted. So
yeah. But it goes both ways. Sometimes there's some men right now being tricked that they think they don't need women.
Of course, and that's where it starts. Like, there's a lot of beta males out here that think they're women.
To really let's talk about that.
No, it's fair.
And
both
in
of you.
order for a woman to be submissive, you got to be a leader. Let's not forget that. And that's financially, that's protecting, that's emotionally, right? That's mentally. Like, there's areas of leadership that you have to step up and lead in. And like you said, you're a high value woman. You have self-respect for yourself. You show up for yourself, right? And so when picking a partner, like, of course you're not going to pick a guy who's a slob, who doesn't show up for himself. How's he going to show up for you if he's not showing up for himself, right?
Absolutely.
And one other thing is, like I said, I'm always going to empower women for sure. But I think we live in a culture now, it's like, where it's teaching women that they don't need men and that they should go out there and they should have their own, you know, run their own business and have their own families and do all this stuff and take it all on their shoulders. When in reality, like, if you're going to be a slave to all those things but not submit to your husband, like, where's that incongruence at?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you'll submit to all these things, like your job or your business or, you know, whatever the case may be, but you won't submit to a leader, your husband. It's an incongruence there for me.
And I want to bring it back to something you said on the beginning of the episode. It's about finding the balance. You said at the beginning of the episode, you help people find the balance of being that data-driven personal trainer. It seems like almost at this point, you're a life coach, baby. like you are adding high value. And I mean, again, think very highly of like the information you're putting out there, the way in which this is going to reach the audience. But truly, a lot of that does show up. It's the balance stuff, you know? You have to be able to balance it all because I don't think it's one man or woman's responsibility to do it all alone. And I don't care if you like he, she, they, them, this, that, whatever you do like, it's a matter of partnership. It's a matter of being fair and even and that's not every day it's going to be 50-50. Some days it's 60-40, some days it's 70-30. 100%. But just fight to get back and get even and be fair to the other person. Be like, hey, you had my back those other 2 days. Yeah. Let me show up for you a little bit more. Take some time off.
Yeah. Well, I think we need that partnership because there's so much going on in life, like trying to provide an income, both work out, you want to have kids. Like, no one can do this all alone.
That's impossible.
Like sometimes
we're not meant to do it.
No. Sometimes I'm like doing my laundry and I'm like crying because I'm like, look, I worked so many hours. It'd be nice if someone just like cooked me a meal tonight. I'm like, something's not right here, and I don't even have kids, so. And I mean, it's not even just saying that like you have kids and like the feminine is like the only one taking care of them and then the man's out working. It's like partnership in everything, right? Like if my husband came to me and he was like, my cup's 20% full, or I only have 20% today, I'd be like, don't worry, I got the other 80%, you know?
And I'll add to that, I think in the partnership, it's the thing that really separates it is like the attitude that you bring to it of like wanting to.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to go out of my way to this. I want to bust my tail for my wife. Same with the wife or our partner. It's like, I want to take care and make sure my husband's happy. And
it's a decision every day.
It's a decision. And it's, you know, different partners, you got to find pride in that, right? Like I like find joy in the sacrifice that I have to make for my partner. I think not everybody has that viewpoint anymore. It's like, well, why should I do this? What did you do for me? And that's just very unhealthy in a relationship. It's like, that's unconditional. Yeah. Like true conditional love. I'm doing this despite anything else because I actually love you and I actually care about you and I actually want to see the best in you. And so I'm willing to go make the sacrifices that I need to make to better your life over mine.
Yeah. And I don't even want to verb it any other way. That's so good.
I mean, I really think the right person will like motivate you to show up as an even better version of yourself.
Sure.
Like there's even been people I've dated that were like so inspiring to me that I started pushing harder at my own life because I was like, wow, look at what this person's doing.
Just
like
because you're around them.
Yeah, because I was around them. I was like, I can step it up further with what I'm doing. And that's like, I want to be with a man who inspires me and motivates me and within that partnership, you know? And I can't see, like what you're saying, I can't see you with anyone that wouldn't be that way. So
y'all are bringing up some good thoughtful stuff, but I want some juicy shit. Like what's your worst date? I want your worst dating story because like there's again this is like you're motivated for a reason. Like there's got to be something that was like this traumatic thing. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I probably should be careful how the first thing that comes to mind is like I was catfished one time. And I want to be respectful, but there's a disrespect in like portraying
someone you're not.
Someone you're not. And so I remember it. I remember it vividly. I was like, wow, like I just got catfished. But I'll be honest, like I had a serious girlfriend for an extended amount of time post college, and so that was like my only like legit girlfriend.
Awesome.
For the most part, I've kind of dated here and there, but I think that what apprehended or caused the relationship not to work is myself. And like I was talking about, like there were some things that I needed to work on. And so I've been constantly growing myself to kind of fill these voids, especially around like the emotional aspect. I feel like, I just grew up like a very like emotionless man, which is like not attractive to emotion-filled women.
Sure.
And so I've been, even with like the posting stuff, it's like trying to show more emotion and opening that layer of my heart to really receive and make that actual genuine connection. And so, like I said, I'm like slowly starting to open the door to that world as I start to, have that inner healing of myself. And so nothing like super duper
I hear juicy. You. Yeah.
But it's a journey.
I think at the end of the day, it's still something that you were like sitting in that moment. You're like, I'm being catfished. Like that third eye, like that bird's eye view as you're sitting in that moment. Like it's crazy. I'm sure.
I was mad. I brought it up. I was like, I don't want to be rude, but like, what's are you who you saying?
Yeah.
It was like bad. Like it was like indistinguishable. Sometimes you're like, oof, but this was like, whoa.
In those moments too, it makes you realize like, what in the world would motivate somebody to want to do that? It's not like they're not going to get caught.
For sure. And like, also it's again, like
Because they still wanted to meet up with you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like,
and like, has this ever worked?
Yes.
Like reaffirm like what you're doing.
Maybe they were trying to get on that show. That fish show.
Like,
maybe.
I don't know. But I love what you were talking about in terms of your emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
As a man, that's so beautiful that you're so self-aware about that. Because I mean, I've tried to understand the difference between men and women so many times because I do think we function in so many different ways. Have you ever heard of that book, like Why Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus?
I've heard of it, never read it.
Oh my God. I think it was written like 20 years ago. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. The only thing I got out of it is we're from two fucking different planets, you know, but we do like communicate in such different ways where women can be like so emotional and so clingy, and then I'm just talking for myself, you know, like I know I can be a ball of emotions, and then with guys I'm dating, I'm like, why am I not? We just function so different. And we have to understand that, you know?
No.
It doesn't make you wrong either.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. I think those are like journey things, journey moments.
Well, being able to receive love too, that's not an easy thing.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. And that's, you know, really what I'm working on is like just receiving.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to go do it all myself. And I think that closes a lot of doors to a lot of good things, like in my relationships, in business, in life, is that not the willingness to receive. And I think that's just super important. And that's funny you brought that up. That's something I'm definitely
yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I think sometimes when you let go a little bit, not doing the work, but when you let go a little and soften a little, like good things come to you, you know, and we can receive those things in that moment. But it's hard when you're so disciplined to let go and accept that, I think, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as men, we're inherently wanted to be like in control of all things.
Yes.
I think there is time to, you know, release and you know, receive that love for sure.
I think too, it's like, I just want to really protect the idea that you run a business. You are giving out some really good jewels here.
I'm like, I'm ready. I'm serious. I'm ready. I feel like in like 5 years from now, I'm literally going to go to a TED Talk, Bryan,
100%.
and I'm like, I was your number one fan.
Like, we'll run this back in 5 years. It'd be fun to see where we're both at.
I want to definitely protect it because people are getting some good stuff out of this episode, but like even me, like just sitting here being a co-host with you,
He's
like
so
I'm getting
inspiring.
great stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to like allude to that. It's like, this is just coming just from myself and my personal experience,
For sure.
all with love.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
But you can feel it. Like we're seeing it and we feel it.
It's just
I hope
love.
the audience does as well.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm not saying this way or the highway, or you have to do this. This is just my experience. This is where I'm at in life. Things could be different in 5 years, but this is the viewpoint that I'm viewing in life right now. And I think authenticity and ingenuity is something I value a lot. And like, this is just you're gonna get what you get. What I say is what you're gonna get.
Sure.
And so I just, you know, to everybody out there, like I have like some polarizing opinions, and you know, I think it should be this way or that way. Like, that's your life, and that's the beauty of life, is that you get to construct it any way you would like.
Absolutely.
This is just how I'm constructing my life, and I think the more that we're genuine, authentic to ourselves, we can attract people that share those same values, and that's beautiful. And we're all welcome to our own opinions. That's the beauty of life.
Well, I want to make sure too we give you that safe stage to ask just our true question. We want to make sure everybody has a safe stage to answer. What do you feel, or what has been brought to your attention, or what would you like to clarify on, of like, what's your biggest misconception about you?
Yeah. It's funny because I was teed up for this one, so I asked one of my homegirls. So I asked a couple of them. They all had the same response.
I love it.
I
love this.
Where is she at? She said, to be honest, I think that people assume you're a typical player, Austin douche guy.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But in reality, you're one of the most intentional and genuine friends I've ever had. So
that's awesome.
So beautiful.
That's very sweet.
I think that just the confidence and the aura that I give off when I walk into the room, I'm very like confident in myself. It can be a little demeaning, for lack of better words, to the people around me. But at the end of the day, like, I love hard, and I care nothing but the best for people, and I want nothing for the best of people. And I think it's important to, you know, have a backbone and you know, be secure in what you believe. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I just want to love hard. And so a lot of misconceptions when people first meet me is that, you know, I'm just a typical Austin douche, but take some time to get to know me.
You got some light skin struggles, my man.
I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking that too, though, because I'm like, okay, yeah, like Bryan's like a good looking guy. It makes sense with like the Austin dating scene that people would be like perceiving you that way. I actually had one of my girlfriends. She was like, do you know this guy? And it was you. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. No, but
she was like, I found him. He's cute. And I was like, I don't know. Shoot your shot. Yeah.
Dude, I'll be backing you up the whole way. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I guess so we'll close it out. But before we close it out, we want people to be able to follow like the great content you're putting out. Yes. Where can people stalk your social stuff on Instagram? Are you on TikTok?
Respectful stalking,
we say respectful.
Nah, stalk on. Make sure you hit that follow.
Hit heart on every video.
It's Bryan Pollard Fitness, and that's Bryan with a Y, Bryan Pollard Fitness, and that's across the board.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok as well.
Awesome.
I'm trying to learn TikTok. I feel like I'm like a millennial that still doesn't know
it's
what
scary.
to do.
It's like, do we invest time in TikTok now that it just got banned? Like, what's the story right now?
It's hard, and I'm definitely not on top of TikTok as I should be. I think that's a great platform to get your word out. Like, you can go from 0 views to 1 million views just on one video, whereas like Instagram works more in an algorithm.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great tool. I haven't quite figured it out, but there's also a lot of good information on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
People want to ban it, and I think there's probably some good reason around like
why.
But I don't know if a complete ban is a great thing, because there is a lot of good information and resource out there, but that's probably a conversation for another day.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we want to make sure everybody comes back to the next episode. It was a pleasure to have you, man.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Bryan, you're a dope dude. Cass, thank you so much for aligning somebody in your network and community to come.
I feel like I'm like fangirl over here on this one too. I'm like, the wisdom you were spitting out, I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah,
like,
you're a solid
just so
dude.
Authentically yourself, and that's what I love and appreciate about you. And the fact that you're sharing that with the world, your routines and your habits, is just so inspiring.
Yep.
And so then we always close this out like the cheesiest way ever.
Come back next week, because you know it's going down.
In the lobby.
Yes, great.
Woo! That was so good.
Like, thank you.
I was just